Hey, welcome to Everyday Jewish Mom. My name is Marty, and today I'm talking about kosher, kashrut, everything, all the basics of these Jewish dietary guidelines, how people practice them in their homes, what makes food kosher. I'm doing a big overview today. I will have other videos coming up to answer your most asked questions about keeping kosher. And if you want more details on anything I talk about today, I have lots of links in the box below. I am putting out videos all year round in a series I'm calling Jewish Kids from Scratch, which is the basics of raising your kids Jewish, whether you are starting from scratch or catching up, need some fill in the blanks. So don't forget to subscribe, hit that little bell for notifications. So the most basic rules of keeping kosher break down to this. We are not supposed to eat milk and meat together. That comes directly out of the Torah. There's a line about how you are not supposed to eat a calf in its mother's milk. So quite literally, no meat and milk. And the second one is that we are not allowed to eat pork or shellfish under any circumstances. And then the way that this is practiced in people's homes expands upon that. So food itself is broken into 4 categories. Like I said, meat. Kosher meat has to follow its own set of guidelines. Like I said, I have links in the bio below if you want some more on that. But it has to be a kosher animal. It has to be slaughtered a certain way. It has to be butchered a certain way. Dairy, which has to come from a kosher animal. The other ones are treif, which are those foods that we are not supposed to eat, like shellfish and pork. And parve. Parve is the category of foods that are neither milk nor meat, and you can eat with either one. Fish and eggs actually fall within parve. So you can have fish within the same meal as a dairy, like lox and cream cheese, or within the same meal as meat, like gefilte fish and matzo ball soup during Passover. As with any religious practice, the way that people follow these guidelines and honor this tradition varies very much from home to home and community to community. So if you are heading to someone's house who keeps kosher or feeding their children, just ask them. They'll tell you what are the rules that they follow. Some families just don't eat pork. Some families don't follow any of these rules at all or only honor them during Passover or something like that. And then on the more traditional side, this is how it goes. Not only are meat and milk not allowed to be eaten together, no cheeseburgers, no chicken Alfredo, but there needs to be time in between them, and they cannot touch the same dishes and cookware. Okay, that would be considered like cross-contamination. So after eating dairy, you'll need to wait a time before eating meat, or after eating meat, you'll need to wait a time before eating dairy. Usually the dairy time is shorter, and those times vary based on community. So ask the people who you know in your life who are following these guidelines, or I will look to find some links below to give you an idea of that. Also, like I said, they can't touch the same cookware. So kosher restaurants will either be a milk restaurant, a dairy restaurant, or a meat restaurant. And in people's homes, they will have 2 separate sets of dishes and 2 separate sets of cookware, and often 2 separate ovens and things like that to really keep things from touching each other. Meat and dairy are not supposed to go near each other. Same rules go for pork or shellfish. They will never eat somewhere where there has been pork or shellfish. This is one of the things where if someone is coming to your home, it's the reason why even if you were to make something that follows these guidelines, if in the process of cooking that it has touched any of the cookware, the knives, the cutting boards in your home, it is therefore become unkosher. Now, once again, every family follows different rules, so you talk to the families who you're having over. So these kosher rules expand to cover processed foods as well. In grocery stores, you will find often, even if you haven't been looking, that many of the foods you eat have a kosher certification on them. Usually there is a symbol, like a U in a circle, that actually stands for Orthodox Union. Sometimes it's a K, sometimes there's some Hebrew writing on there. I'm going to link to an article below that'll show you all kinds of different kosher symbols. But what that means is that there's a regulatory agency that checks on the processing of these foods to make sure that there hasn't been pork processed in the same facility, to make sure that something that is labeled as parve, meaning it's not meat or dairy, has never been processed, has never been produced on the same equipment as dairy. So the reason that these come up is if you're having a meat meal, you're having chicken for dinner, you can't have a dessert with dairy in it. And so I'm going to show you here on brownie mixes, which is something that comes up all of the time. So on this one, for example, it has that OU symbol for kosher and then a D for dairy. So this is one that you could only eat if you were having a dairy meal that day, whereas Duncan Hines is everyone's favorite kosher because there we go. It has an OU and no D, which means it is parve. You can have it with meat or any other time. So guys, that is the basics on keeping kosher. Like I said, I will have another video or maybe more coming out about it. If you have questions, put them in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe. You can follow me on social media and check out all the other, check out all those links in the bio. I said that a million times, didn't I? All right, I've got other videos too. Check those out.